Hi everyone, are you able to hear me clearly and see the screen clearly? Hi Alok, hi Bintao, hi Grishma, hi Hitendra, hi Karthikeyan, hi Noor, Prashant, Ravi, Robin, and Sachin. Great to have you in the session. With me, we have Abhinav. Uh, and the way we are going to do it is that Abhinav will be the one who will basically uh, do the execution, and I'll be the one who will be speaking. Okay. So Abhinav is the one who heads the lab. Mostly he heads the DevOps, he heads the engineering behind it. All right. So it's better that he does he shows you how exactly it is done, and I think it's a good opportunity. All right. So okay. So I'm going to allow recording to Alok. Does anybody else wants to record? All right. All right. Robin also. Okay. Bintao. Okay. All right. I think there is no limit. Okay. So let me see if I could allow recording. Okay. Allowed everybody just to check how many people can record. Great. So I have allowed everybody to record. I hope you are able to do that. And just wanted to check who all can record. Okay. Great. Wonderful. Okay. So allow the chat. Actually, chat should be there anyway in your documents. After the session, you will get a copy of the Zoom chat probably in your documents. Otherwise, the chat is always recorded. Okay. Just the chat does not come in the video. It comes at its own way. But other than that, everything is okay. Okay. Great. Great. All right. So in today's session, what we are going to do is we are going to install the Hadoop cluster on 3 machines. Okay. Hadoop cluster on 3 machines. I'm just going to again draw something which might look a bit ugly, but okay. So here, so basically we are going to have 3 machines, okay, on which we are going to install Hadoop. Okay. This is going to be mostly, I mean, going to be everywhere. Okay. While the name node will be on, probably we will put name node on one of the machines, probably this one. Okay. And then other services. So these services we will choose later. Okay. These 3 services we will choose later. All right. We will learn that part. So the general idea is that we start with 3 machines. And how we will start? Either we install Hadoop on all these machines manually, download Hadoop, configure them, but that's totally inefficient. So we either use Cloudera's manager or we use Ambari. So today we are going to use Ambari. This on this we are going to install Ambari server. Okay. So first of all, the first thing we are going to do is we are going to buy these three instances at Amazon. Then we will follow the Ambari's guideline. And this is what we're going to do. So first we'll take the, okay. And the machine configuration we are going to see as we do. All right. So here, this is going to be Ambari server. Okay. So this is the one to which we all will see. This is what we basically will open in the browser. We all will open, as in Abhinav will open in the browser and then keep on adding these machines into this thing. And Ambari will then install all the components that are required here. It'll basically install whatever is required. Okay, so this is how it is. So basically the Ambari server is the first one that we are going to work with. All right, so that's pretty much, I think that just too much. So, all right, the URL that we are going to follow. Also, let me just share this document with all of you. Okay, I'm going to share this link to the link to this one with all of you. Okay, and all right. So it says anyone with the link. So now you should be able to see the. Okay, so this is the. Okay, great, great. Now, uh, all right. Now, Abhinav says that we will use 16 GB RAM machines so that the installation will go smoothly. We should always be having the minimum configuration. So the general style of installation is you must take a look at this URL. It helps you understand what are the various steps required. One. So in this, these are the various determine the stack compatibility, minimum system requirements, collect the information. So this is what actually we are going to partly follow. Okay, this is what we're going to follow. And out of this, instead of this, we are going to follow probably this one, right? The CentOS 7, right? So this is what we are going to follow. All right. And let me see. Yeah, CentOS 7 is what we're going to follow. All right. Now I'll stop sharing the screen. You keep an eye on this document, right? This is what we are going to go with. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing and Abhinav, you can take it from here. The general core idea is that we'll install Ambari first of all. First of all, we will take the 3 nodes machine. On one of the nodes, we will install Ambari. Then we'll open the various ports which are required for the demo purpose. And the detailed steps are these. Detailed steps are launch 3 instances. And this is what we are going to follow through the class. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing and let Abhinav show the screen. I think multiple people can't show the screen here. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is we are going to launch 3 instances of T2X large type. AWS, Amazon gives us this various configurations. The one which we are going with is 16 GB RAM, which is T2X large. Okay. All right. So you can see that we are in the AWS console. Okay. So this is what we get when we choose the Amazon machine image. So we are selecting the CentOS 7. Okay. So here it shows you all the pricing and everything. Now at this point, we're basically selecting the instance type. Okay, you can see 16 GB RAM, 4 CPU, and so on. So there are various configurations. The cost varies accordingly. Okay. All right. So here the number of instances, we are going to go with 3 of such ones. And then we are going to also add hard disk probably, right? So this is, okay. So I think the first volume that we are doing is 100 GB one. The hard disk that we are adding is 100 GB. Okay. And please note that we are going to go with the magnetic volume type, because the SSD is great in the cases where we don't have as HDFS. Here, HDFS is the one which is going to consume a lot of disk because it has the application vector and so on. Therefore, it makes more sense to go with magnetic. Why we are I am emphasizing on the magnetic type because last time we made a similar mistake earlier while setting up our cluster, where we chose the SSD, which was costing us more, but providing us less storage because the HDFS, when it will consume 3 GB of disk in order to give you 1 GB of storage. So therefore, it makes more economical sense to have it magnetic. All right. So let me also open the chat part. Okay, go ahead. All right. So we are going to give the names to the server. Okay. We are going to give the names to the cluster. Then we already have created an existing security group. You can also create your new security group if you want. And in this, we are allowing all the ports. Okay, we are allowing all the ports, and so that the okay, so that no restrictions, right? All right, so we created our own security group. Continue with magnetic boot volume. Okay, so good, good. So here we can either create a new pair, or we can also use, if you have already created the so what is wait I'll explain to you what does it mean. So instead of every time giving login, giving password and all and so on for every machine, what Amazon provides you is the private public key kind of a model, right? So what will it do is it will generate this private public key. It'll give you the private key, and it will save the public key on all the machines. Now, what does it mean? It means that the machines are locked and you have the keys. And whenever you log in, automatically the handshake will happen between your machine to this one, provided you keep the private key at a right position. All right. So this is the important part. So here we are downloading the key pair. Okay. And okay, so you can say HDP demo. Okay. So we are downloading the key pair, which we will be saving in our home directory later. HDM, the private key. Now we will use this to log into the cluster so that we don't have to provide login, password, and other things. Okay. A question from Sachin is, what is the meaning of magnetic? Magnetic is the normal hard disk. Okay. SSD is the solid state one, which is costly and gives you less space. Okay. Magnetic is slow, but is less costly and gives you more space. Okay. All right. Let me allow Subbu also to record. All right. Subbu, okay, I can see now. Allow recording. Great. Now, where are we? So great. The instances are being initialized. Okay. So these are the new instances that we have just now created. The names of these, the name of the cluster is Hadoop nodes. That's the one which we have chosen just now. Okay. Now, at this point, we should change the permission of the download key to this one so that nobody else can access it. If you don't change the permission, you won't be able to log in with this. Okay. Reason is that it's kind of a security feature that if your private key is you should not keep your private key unsafe. All right. So it's like using this instead of again and again using login and password. Here we are using this private key to log in. Okay. All right. So since we saved it in our home directory, we are going to use that. Okay, find name star.pm, put dot after it in the end, space dot, no, last put dot, end of the line, put dot. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So we save it? I think what you can do is you can open the files. You can open the files. In the files, you will be having the recent ones. There it will show you the recent one. Okay, recent. Uh, is it in downloads? I remember it was in Abhinav. Wow, I have so many. Okay. That's smarter. Okay, so this is Hadoop HDP demo. Yeah, Hadoop HDP demo. port 700, sorry, 400 Hadoop HTTP demo. The idea is don't give the permission to read or view to read or view to anybody from your group or others. That's why the last two digits are 00. In Unix, that's the way you define the permissions. Okay, now let's give the name to the server. We have all right. So we are going to name one of the node to Hadoop Ambari server. Okay, and the others. Okay, and then we're going to give Hadoop data node. Should we keep it data node? Yeah. So it's okay to give same name to others, or do we have to give them one or two? All right, great, great. So we have basically given them the group names. All right. Now we are going to log into individual using the downloaded private key. That's the one that we okay. So again, why we are emphasizing Amazon emphasized on private key instead of you trying to save the password here and there. You need to keep this private key safe. Okay. So it's like entering the password from a file. Okay. So we're going to say SSH I as in this is my input key, and we are going to provide the IP address. So by default, it creates the CentOS as the user on all the machines. Okay, so here we are saying log in to that particular IP address. Saying when it says continue connecting, you just say yes. Okay, it says permanently added to the list of files. That's good. So you can see that we are perfectly logged in. You can see the prompt. It shows that it is CentOS at that particular IP address. Okay, I hope you can locate the IP address from the AWS console. Abhinav, could you show again the IP address of that machine? So you can see that this is a public IP address. Okay, this is the public IP address. Wonderful. So this is the public IP address. So every machine has got a public IP address. Every machine has got a private IP address. Okay, so private IP address is for internal communication and public IP address is for external communication. Internal means amongst these machines. Again, we are doing the SSH in another terminal. So you can see we are able to successfully log in these three machines. Okay, so we'll keep these three tabs open so that we can, whenever required, we can just switch the tabs. So we have first tab for first server, second for second, and third for third. Okay. A question from Hitendra, is Ambari server name node? Not really. So right now we're just using Ambari server as the starting point. So Ambari server will install everything in all machines. And during the installation, it will ask you which service will go where. Where would name node go? Where will data node go? It will ask us when we start installation. Okay. Now, once we are there, now we are going to log into all of these and do sudo yum update. Sudo yum update. What does that do? It will update the packages on the machine. Yum is the package manager on Red Hat. These are CentOS machines, and that means this is Red Hat. Manager on CentOS machines, which basically downloads, updates, or installs new packages or uninstalls. So here we are basically running the same command, yum update, on all of the machines. Okay, now we will keep interacting with these three terminals. A question from Alok, why we cannot use Ubuntu machines? We can use Ubuntu machines, just that Ambari has been tested and very well documented for CentOS. Therefore, we generally use Ubuntu machines. It's completely okay to install on Ubuntu machines. For that matter, it's completely okay to install on Windows machine. What does yum update do? Yum update updates all the packages because the instances that Amazon has given us are a bit older in package. So we need to update the software on these machines. Is this 100 GB for all the three instances? So this is a 100 GB magnetic storage, which is on each of the three machines, which means there will be 300 GB. Out of the 300 GB, there will be 20 GB that will 20 GB that will be updated on Amazon, and we'll put it in the HDFS. Okay. A question from Prasant, which one is used in enterprises? Instead of Ubuntu, people use Red Hat, and Red Hat is nothing but CentOS. Is my voice breaking for others? Oh, correct. So I'm going to switch my internet connection for a moment because I got connected to 5 gigahertz, which is not right, as David also pointed out day before yesterday. So I'm going to switch to 5 gigahertz. Okay, so I'm again back. Are you able to hear me? Great, great. So here we are. I think we are done with updating various packages. Great, great. All right. So far, everything is going good. Yes, we are going to have 2 classes this weekend. So yeah, Noor's question is, can you repeat the 20 GB part of it? So basically out of 300 GB, some part will stay on the local file system. Some part, like around 75 to 80% will go to HDFS. That we will decide later. All right. Great, great. Now, once we are done with that, now what we have to do is we have to make CentOS as sudoer on all the machines. Okay, sudoer on all the machines. Why do we do that? Who is a sudoer? Sudoer is somebody who can do the administrative task, right? Sudoer is somebody who can do the administrative task. Therefore, we will make CentOS as sudoer. So how do we do that? Using this command called vi sudo. That's basically modified VI. Okay. And we just mention whatever is there for the root. We mention the same thing in this file. We just append one more line, go to the end of the line. Okay, you can see that allow root to run any commands anywhere. Similarly, we are saying allow CentOS to run any command anywhere. Okay, that means on all the machines, this is what we are saying. CentOS can do anything on these machines. Okay, CentOS is the login that we have used. What is sudo vi sudo? Basically, the vi sudo is used to make anybody anybody a user who can do anything on behalf of root. Sudo means um, sudo means super user do. Su is for super user, do for doing. And when you say sudo, that means you can do something like a super user. So if you put people into vi sudo, that means they can do anything which super user can do. So vi sudo again has to be executed with a command called sudo, and that's it. So using sudo command, now CentOS will happily be able to do anything on this machine without any further problems. Although it was able to do sudo before also, but now it becomes complete control, right? Just to be on the safer side. Okay, question from Noor is, can you update the doc with the file name? You mean the PEM file name? The private key file name? Is that your question? Okay, yeah, it comes, this is the command. So when we say sudo vi sudo, it actually vi sudo is nothing but it opens the vi with the etc sudoer file. There is a file called etc sudoer. That's the one it opens by default. Okay. All right, wonderful, wonderful. Now on each machine, verify if the host name is properly set. So host name is a command with -f, it gives the full details about the host name. So you can take a look at all the host names and then check. Okay, so you can see that host name is properly set, though it is internal, but it is properly set. A question from Grishma is, can you also update the dock with softwares needed to be installed on your system? On your system, the only thing that is required to be installed is the SSH or PuTTY. Okay, SSH helps you to log into the remote. The three terminals that are running, they're nothing but SSH. Okay, so either you could use PuTTY or you could use SSH to log into these servers. Wonderful, wonderful. So great, great. Now edit the network file. Next step is to edit the network file. And so let's do sudo vi and edit the network file. All right. So here you can see that on the three machines, we have opened the network files. Okay. And then we are saying hostname equals whatever full qualified name do you want on these machines. Okay. Oh, we have to say this FQDN. All right. We have to, oh, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So we have to give it full name that was specified on host name. Okay. So what we are doing, we are basically setting the host name properly. All right. It is generally safe to edit the network file and set the host name explicitly so that you have a complete control of the local host name. Okay. And whenever you're setting up any machines, these are the standard steps you generally need to do. Okay, so whatever we found when we did hostname -f on all the three machines, that's what we are doing. Okay. A question from Grishma is FQDN is different for each machine. That's correct. That's right. Now, the next step is to configure IP tables. What we are going to do is we are going to disable the firewall. Okay. So we are going to disable the firewall for this session. Generally, we should not disable the firewall. Okay. So firewall is a daemon, firewall D, it's called. And then that's what we're going to do. So either we say systemctl disable this, or as well as we stop the service. Okay. Okay, it's not running already, so no worries. Just to be on the safer side, generally it's better to stop firewall in the cases where you are going to install services, you are going to um, configure services. Great, great. Now going ahead. All right, now the next step is that we are going to install the basic utilities like yum install unzip, unzip wget kind of things, because we'll have to download Ambari and then unzip various things. So we are going to just do it on one of the machines, okay, which is where I think, are you going to do it on all machines? Okay, yeah. So unzip and wget is what we're going to install on all the machines. All right. Although most of these tasks have been automated on our case, but we are doing it manually so that you all come to know what it is. A question from Sachin is, firewall is Amazon firewall? No, actually the firewall comes with the CentOS, and that's what we are disabling. A question is, when you say install, yum install, where does it install from? Good question. Question is, when we say yum install, we are not providing any software, we are just providing a name. So basically, yum has something called a central global repository. Okay, CentOS is a user. So yum has a central repository, and from using yum, when we say yum install, it's basically going to bring unzip from remote from the repository, copy it to the local file, local machine, then install it on the local machine. Okay, so yum's duty is that. Now the next thing is when we say sudo, why we are doing sudo is, yes, sudo is so that, because yum install is an administrative task, and therefore it should be done by the super user. Sudo makes everything, every command that follows it, run as a super user. All right. A question from Sachin is CentOS a user? Yes. Okay. So yes, that's right. That's good analogy, Noor, that it's like Google Play Store for Linux. Good. All right. So this is what we have. Next is we are going to stop SE Linux. Okay. So we are going to basically disable SE Linux. So the first thing is we are going to run set and force 0. Okay, so various kinds of, I think SE Linux basically stops various kinds of permissions and things like that. So let me just also understand what is SE Linux. I remember doing it once, but I kind of forgot. Okay, yeah, it's a security enhanced Linux. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. So we are going to disable the security, various kinds of security, because that's going to bother us as we go ahead. Okay. Now we basically change the file se linux config and mark se linux equals disabled on all the three machines, and that's pretty much. So here we're going to say disabled. That means no secure Linux policies are loaded yet, and that's it. So we're going to save the file, we're going to reboot the machines, and Now remember that once we bring these into effect, we'll have to reboot the machines. So we can use the command called reboot. Okay, reboot from here. And after a while, we can log in. All right. After this, we are going to edit our profile, etc profile. What is etc profile? etc profile is the global profile for all the users. etc profile contains commands which get executed when any user logs in into the system. So if you want all the users to see a nice, beautiful banner, you should generally put it inside etc/profile file. Okay. So for now, we are just going to edit this etc profile so that it basically uh, okay, it sets the default value of new files and folders permissions. Okay, on all the three terminals, we have executed this command. Now we are saying unmask 0022 in the end of the file. Okay. All right, wonderful. Now we are going to install NTP. NTP is a network time server, right? As per my understanding, network time protocol is what is NTP. Yes, that's right. So we're going to install NTP so that the system could synchronize its time and other things. Okay, again, we're going to use yum for installation. So here you can see that in this command, we used three commands in parallel. First, we said install -y. That means do not ask me, just install. And that means once this first command is run, then the second command called start NTPD would happen. And then that is success. If that is successful, then we will enable that service. Okay. So these are the three commands that we have run in a chain. Okay. If you put or instead of ampersand, if you say pipe, that means that we want to run or. But here, what we want to do is first install. If install is successful, that start the service. If service is successfully started, then enable it as for the background. Okay. This is something that it took us some time to figure out that this is required. Okay, so these are something that, in addition to what Ambari suggests, these are something that we have figured out for ourselves. A question from Noor is, I tried to ping the first server, no reply. Does it normally disallow? Yes. Generally, the ping response is disabled. A question from Prasant is, in companies, whose responsibility it is to create and manage these services and HDFS? Generally, the system administrator, not the DBA. So generally, it is the system administrators who maintain the Hadoop clusters. So, and also actually, the admin is a very generic task because there is HR admin, there is a normal admin, there is sysadmin, there is a database admin. So basically, it's mostly the system administrator. It's a team of system administrators. All right. So a question from Sachin is, what is the unmask 022? It's basically a particular thing that is required in order to set such that why the default permissions for each on every machine needs to be set that way. Okay. A question from Prashant is, so if we do not know this as a big data analyst, it is okay. Yes, that's completely okay. Because a Hadoop cluster is installed once in like 10 years, okay? Or once in like 5 years, you can think of it this way. And then it is basically keeps running in that way. Okay, it just maintained. All right. So Prashant, it looks little complicated because it involves many steps, but it is not that hard. For developers or analysts or for data scientists, it's not really mandatory, but one must, since some of us wanted it, it is kind of, it'll be a good thing to know. It is a good thing to know. Okay. So when I was at InMobi, I'll be very, very honest with you. When I was at InMobi, we did all the development with Hadoop and everything, and we did it successfully without having to install a single machine. Okay, and we also did not install on our laptops or any virtual machine. We just used the cluster. So it was there. Great. It's just that when I left Amazon and InMobi, then I had to go back to my sysadmin that, hey, how do you guys generally install Hadoop and all of the cluster? Then he told me that we generally use Ambari for the entire system. All right. So that's how it is. So most of it, what we are talking here is something that we have discovered and learned by ourselves. And from time to time, I consulted my sysadmins at InMobi. They are close friends. So that way. All right. Good, good. Now let's move on to the next step. Okay. Let's start the cron D service. Okay. All right. Now is the time that we start with. Since Ambari would require to log in onto all these machines. You see, remember this diagram? I'm going to show my screen for a moment, Abhinav. Okay. So, so remember this diagram that we talked about. So here, where did it go? Here. So here, basically Ambari, these are the three machines yet. Ambari server needs to log into all these machines. Okay, therefore we need to set up the passwordless access for Ambari server. Okay, so giving back the control to Abhinav. Okay, great. So we are setting up passwordless access for Ambari. So what we are doing is we are copying uh, the HDP key, this private key, because private key is same for all these servers, to uh, to all these to the first machine. Okay, to first machine. I think you have copied that I twice, so I think you have to cancel it. You see the command? We have repeated the PEM twice. Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Just try now. When we are on first machine, this is the machine, the first terminal. You remember this? So on the first terminal, we are on the machine that we are planning to designate as Ambari server. So we have copied the private key to this machine so that this machine can also log into other two servers. You can try logging in now if it is working fine. Okay. Now we can try to log into these machines. Okay, so we were able to log into another machine. Similarly, we are trying to log in to the second and third from the first terminal. Please notice that here we are already on the first server where the Ambari was there. Now we are on the server where we are going to install Ambari, and we are trying to log into the third one. So we have already tried to log in to second one from first, which is successful now. So great. So now we are able to successfully log in to other two from the Ambari machine. Okay. Now, So what we are doing is we are making sure that Ambari server should be able to, under the hood, SSH to the other servers and do whatever it wants to do. It because it wants to install Hadoop on all these machines. Instead of we logging in, it is the Ambari server which is going to log into these machines and do the installation. Therefore, we are making Ambari capable of logging into these machines. Now, the other thing we are going to do is we're going to install MySQL server on one of the machines. Okay, why are we doing that? Okay, just a second, I'll answer Noor's question. So we have only private key for all the three servers, correct. So we are giving this private key to the Ambari server as well, the one that we are going to designate as Ambari server. Okay, the first one, the first tab in our terminal. So in our terminal, we have three tabs representing the three servers. So first one is for Ambari server. Okay, great, great. All right, the next thing we are going to do is we are going to install MySQL on one of the data nodes. Okay, why we need the MySQL server? It will be required for two machines, two purposes. One, it will be required for Ambari to store its configuration. Second, it will be required by Hive server to store its metadata. Now, we are doing wget instead of using yum. We are installing using wget. Okay, so we have installed the community server. Hive metadata is always in RDBMS, that's right, but not actual data. Actual data is in HDFS. Question from Grisma is, can we know how to transfer data from MySQL DB to HDFS? Okay, we will learn that as part of Scoop. Okay. All right, now we are basically updating the system. We are installing MySQL server after we have installed the community server. Okay. So it's installing many things, whatever is the dependency of the server. So it's downloading them and installing those. You can see Perl DBI, MySQL community client, Perl file path, and so on. There are many components of MySQL which are written in Perl. Now, at this stage, we are starting the MySQL D. MySQL D is MySQL daemon. What is MySQL daemon? The service that runs in the background is called a daemon. So here we are saying system control start this. It's basically to start a service. A question from Noor is, can we install MySQL to HDFS? No. And we can make MySQL to be distributed. Is it necessary to install MySQL of the data node? We need to install MySQL, but we can install it on any machine. Okay. All right. Next is we are going to set the passwords and other things, other security settings. We're going to use this particular script, which helps us setting up various passwords and things like that. Okay. Okay. So it's saying that since we entered, it is asking us to set the root password. We can generate any root password here and save it. Whatever password you specify here, and you will be able to, you will have to keep it safe. Okay, you'll have to keep it safe. I think you can share the password with people so that at the end of the session, we will anyway destroy these instances. All right. Is MySQL used by Ambari? Correct. Ambari is going to use it for saving all the settings we do because Ambari is the one who is going to install Hadoop and other things. So Ambari can't assume that Hadoop is installed. So it can't, Ambari can't store things in HDFS or Hadoop. Okay. Question from Noor is root password means MySQL admin password. That's correct. Can we use Oracle DB? I think we can use Oracle DB because Mambari uses Java driver, which should work with Oracle as well. Okay. So here we are basically, this is the password we have set for MySQL. It's super complex. It's like Abhinav123. All right. So we are going to use that one. And it's completely okay because we are just going to destroy these instances after this session. Okay, great questions. Let's go ahead. We are setting up, we are saying that remove anonymous users and we are disallowing login remotely. Okay. Yes, MySQL is also owned by Oracle, but they are two different databases. Now we are going to reload the privileges table so that MySQL starts working correctly. Okay, keep these steps in mind. So we removed we disallowed the remote login, removed test databases and anonymous users. Okay, great. So these are the steps to secure your MySQL. Now we are going to create databases for Uzi and other things. These will be required by our other services. So when we are installing various services, it'll want us to create these databases later. So we are upfront creating these databases so that we don't have to keep coming. So first of all, we are creating a user for Uzi. Okay. And how do we create a user? By using this. Okay. So we are saying this is the Uzi is the login and Uzi123 is the password. Okay, these will be used by a service called Uzi in Hadoop cluster. Okay, so we are basically setting up the database, MySQL database, so that we can do the rest of it. Okay, so we can set up the service, and services will have their own databases separate. Can you repost the link to the document? Just give me a second. I will repost. Oh, where did it go? Just give me a second. I'll repost it. Great. Thank you, Prasant. All right, great, great. So we are able to successfully create the Uzi database, right? Now, great. Also, now let's create a database for Hive. Okay, this is what we're going to do again. All right, same thing as earlier. Great. So on one of the machines, we have installed MySQL. Okay, because at that point of time when we need it, we won't be able to install MySQL, so we are upfront setting it up. Similarly, Ranger is a service which is required, so we are starting the Ranger. We basically setting up Ranger itself, but we won't be using it much. Okay. Now we're going to download and check MySQL connector on Ambari server host. Why? Why it's required? Because Ambari server is written in Java and it needs Java driver for our database. And our database is MySQL. Therefore, we will have to download this particular, we'll have to download the MySQL connector for Java. Okay. Also notice that we are using asterisk there. All right. So it's going to find out all the packages which are matching that wildcard and install it. So also notice that it is installing the OpenJDK. MySQL underscore secure underscore installation is a script. Yes. And why are we not creating Ambari database on MySQL? So I think Ambari, so Abhinav, let me ask Abhinav. Abhinav, so do we need a database for Ambari? My impression was that we would need a database for Ambari. Okay, I think Ambari will create its own database. Great, great. All right, all right. So Hadoop system is using a lot of RDBMS for metadata, kind of, yes. Okay. All right, wonderful. So we have successfully installed the MySQL connector. Why does my Ambari server does not have this driver live with it? Good point, Alok. The point is that Ambari server is not enforcing that you must install MySQL, right? And whichever database you use, you will have to use that connector. All right. So that's one of the reasons. Good, good. Now let's check if the jar has been downloaded and exists in the user shared Java and in that folder. Jar is nothing but package, a bunch of files bunched together into the bundle format. Okay, so can we take a look? Yes, it is there. You can see that it is there. That means there is you can see if you do file here, file and the URL. Okay, all right. No, no, file and that path. Correct. Okay, so you can see that jar is nothing but a zip archive of data, which is specifically for Java class files. A question from Noor is, MySQL secure installation, please update the path of this. It's not given. I think it is there in your normal path itself. Okay, when you install MySQL, it will be set in your user somewhere. Okay, and question from Alok is, do we need to specify jar location in Ambari somewhere? I don't think so. It'll basically pick it from user share Java. Okay. Now, all right. Great, great. Now, the other thing is we need to install Java on each machine apart from Ambari server. Okay, we are going to install Java on all the machines. Specifically, we are going to install JDK. Okay, we're going to install JDK and we're going to use wget, and we've already prepared this command to be downloaded from, yeah. So it's downloading from the Oracle machine, Oracle servers, the JDK, because JDK is owned by Oracle. All right. So this is what we're doing. We are saying yum local install and this, meaning from the local RPM, please install this particular program. All right. So then we are going to delete this locally downloaded file once installed. A question from Alok is, how will I get MySQL secure installation? Once you install the MySQL community server, those following those steps, this will be there in your path. Okay. A question from Sachin is, Hadoop needs JDK? Yes. Hadoop is written in Java, and here it needs JDK because I think generally, as a matter of fact, whenever even if you are installing your desktop, let's say you setting up your dev machine for Java, it's always safer to install JDK because there are many components that require JDK, not only JVM. Okay. Here we are using the Oracle JDK instead of OpenJDK. Question from Subbu is, can we set up one server, then we can clone it to other instances? Yes. So instead of setting up two instances the way we are doing, we can also do that we set up one server and then do the other. But since there are many services, we will have to keep 3 machines ready. Okay, and there is a slight difference between first and the other two, while the installation on other two is exactly identical. Okay, while the installation on first one is a bit different. Okay, so a question from Subbu is, can we set up one server and then we can clone it? Yeah, that's the one I haven't answered. Sorry about that. All right, go ahead, Abhinav. So we have removed the one that we downloaded because that JDK is really big. And now the next thing is we are going to install JCE. Hitan's question is, have designated name node yet? Not yet, not really. We just, in our mind, we have the thing that first one is for Ambari. We have not set up even the Ambari. The next thing is Java cryptography extension that we have to download from Oracle. And here we'll basically download to our local machine, then SCP there to the server, uh, okay, to our these machines and install it. Okay, so this is JCE policy. So we can copy from our local machine from where we have downloaded it to these newly set up machines. Question from Intao, why did we install and remove? Basically, we downloaded a file, installed it, then deleted the downloaded file. Why did we delete it? So that it doesn't take up the space because it's a big file. Okay. Question from Noor, why can't we download on server directly? Because of these agreements, which Oracle has enforced, we are not able to download it directly on the server. They want us to explicitly click I agree. Okay. They want the user to go to their website. All right, so this is good. So now we are copying this locally downloaded file to our server, and just go, let me take a look. Now we are basically copying this file, this policy file, into a folder inside our JRE, right? We are saying Java JDK / JRE / lib / security. That's where we are copying the policy file that's required because that contains various cryptographic policies. Okay, done. So we are able to set up the JCE policy on both these machines. We are doing it on the machines where we have set up the JDK just now. Okay, the other two machines, other than the first one, second and third. Now we are installing Ambari server. All right, so we just downloaded the repo. Please note that we are just downloading here the repo of the Ambari. Okay, so we are basically adding the Ambari's repo into the list of repos in yum. Again, the way yum command works is yum command maintains the list of repositories in which it searches, and we are just adding one more repository. JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment. JCE stands for Java Cryptographic Environment. Extension, not environment, sorry. JCE stands for Java Cryptography Extension. Now, once we have added the repository, downloaded and added the repository into yum, then we are checking the repository with yum repo list. Yum repo list, you can see that in the yum repo list, Ambari is listed. Okay, now we can go ahead with the installation, right? So we're basically saying yum install Ambari server on the first machine. On the first machine, we are going to install Ambari server. Okay, you can see that it's a first tab. That's where we are installing Ambari server. We'll not do this on other machines. Okay, please go ahead. So this is basically downloading this Ambari server from the Ambari repository, which we added in the previous step. Please note that the installation size is 814 MB. Okay. So it's going to take a bit of time to download. All right. All right, but it's a particular package for Ambari. You could see that when it was taking some time. So we are installing Ambari on first machine. Okay, we are installing Ambari server on first machine. Just a second, there are a couple of questions from Noor. So we install JDK on other two data nodes, right? That's correct. And Java connector on Ambari server. No, Java connector on only the other two nodes. Okay, sorry, Java connector for database. Okay, let me again answer. First question is from Node. So we install JDK on the other two nodes, correct? Right, second and third. And the one that we are planning to put data nodes and other things. So, and Java connector on Ambari server. Yes, MySQL connector on Ambari server. Okay, now question is, and installing Ambari on Ambari server. Yes, we are installing the Ambari server on the first machine. Question from Hitendra. Does Ambari need Postgres? Ambari needs Postgres, yeah. So again, the MySQL we installed for the other services like Oozie, Hive, and things like that, while we are going to go ahead with Postgres for Ambari server instead of going ahead with the MySQL. Okay, so Ambari's metadata will go in Postgres, while Hive and other things metadata will go in MySQL. Postgres is again a database. All right, go ahead. So Ambari internally installed Postgres when we said Ambari server install. Also, we are setting up the Ambari server now. MySQL is on third node. We won't call it data node yet. So we are starting the setup of the Ambari server. So a question from Sachin, if Ambari package as in Ambari repository is not present in the repository list, then yum install will not work. Then where can we download the Ambari package? Correct. So there are other ways, like you can download this repository to your local drive, and then you can use the yum install to use that repository. Okay. All right. So yeah. Now question is, let's start the Ambari server setup. So please notice that we are specifying the JDBC driver. So Ambari server setup has successfully installed. We're basically setting up the Ambari server. Okay. All right. So we are saying customize user account from Ambari server. Okay. So we are saying no there. Okay. So here it's asking that which JDK do we want to use? We'll say JDK 1.8. What is the latest version of Ambari? I think it must have shown earlier, the one that we did while installing, it must have shown. Okay, it's 2.6. Thank you, Abhinav. All right, so we are enable Ambari server to download and install the Algedo package. We can say yes here. Okay, what is Algedo package? Algedo is used for compression in case of HDFS. Okay, Abhinav, can we just pause a minute? Yes, Alok, go ahead about the confusion. First, okay, let me clarify the questions. Question from Sachin is Ambari going to use both MySQL and other DB you told, or one? I think it is going to use both. Okay, it has internally downloaded Postgres, so we are going to let it use Postgres for its own metadata. Okay, for its own metadata, it's going to use Postgres, while for the metadata of Hive and other things, it's going to use MySQL. All right. A question from Alok. MySQL DB is need in Ambari server. Not really. It is needed only in one of the nodes. It is needed for MySQL, Oozie, and things like. Sorry, MySQL is needed by Hive and Oozie, while Postgres will be used by the Postgres will be used by Ambari server. Hive comes with Ambari, correct. So while we will set up Hadoop, Hive comes with Hadoop. Hadoop will be downloaded and installed by Ambari, and Ambari will configure Hive to use this MySQL server. A question from Noor. So till this point, what we have done is to prepare the machine for Ambari. That's right. We have installed and downloaded Ambari, and we are setting up an Ambari, and now Ambari will take over to install Hadoop components. Very well said, Noor. So Hadoop is about managing files with all the components relying on RDBMS for metadata. Hadoop is about managing files with all components relying on kind of yes, kind of yes. Say Hive is using metadata Hive is using MySQL for storing metadata. Uzi is using MySQL for storing metadata, and yes, that's kind of partly right. While HBase will not use any other database for storing its metadata. Question from Alok is, other two nodes do not need MySQL database? Not really, not really. We'll just, because Hive is going to be using one of the MySQL servers, and they all will use the same MySQL, okay? They all will use the same MySQL. So question from Grishma, does HBase come here? HBase will again be installed by Ambari. Ambari will take over and install HBase, Hive, Uzi, Scoop. All the Hadoop components will be installed by Ambari for us. There are around 20 components that it is going to install. All right, great. I hope it is clear now. So we have installed Ambari server. Now we are configuring Ambari so that it will start showing us web interface, and then we will start installing. A question from Bintao, how to add Spark to Hadoop? Again, Ambari will bring Spark with it. Okay, but we can just download Spark and configure it to work with Hadoop. Okay, you yourself can download your own copy of Spark and start using in CloudX Lab. Okay. Uh, all right. Few more questions. A question from Hiten: does Spark also have metadata in RDBMS? Correct. It does. There is something called Spark SQL, which comes with Spark Thrift Server that basically relies on Hive's metadata, and it also has its own metadata, which can be specified to store in RDBMS. Okay. Question from Sachin: components store metadata in MySQL? Correct. So that's kind of, you can take that as a kind of thumb rule. Okay, what kind of data will MySQL DB has? So uh, as its relational database, that's right. The data over data, which is metadata, will be there in the MySQL database. All right. Question from Hitendra. Today has been great information. Great. All right, let's move on. Okay, great. All right, now you can see that it is checking for Postgres, and it's about to configure the local database, which is Postgres. It's creating schema, users, tables, and extracting various kinds of views. Views are basically nothing but plugins for Ambari. Okay, now it has completed the setup successfully. When you see this message, that means you have successfully installed. Okay, so I have a question here from Bintao. Can I just answer that one? Question from Bintao is how to add Spark to Hadoop and how to install, check what languages R, Python, Scala, etc. can be used within Spark. Good. So Spark will be installed, one copy will be installed by Ambari, but we can also download our own copy of Spark directly from the net and start using that. Okay, just like in Linux, you have your home directory in that you can just download and start using Spark. You can use wget to download and install. And All the other languages like R, Python, Scala, Java, you will have to install as a sysadmin. Okay. So a question from Grishma, please once free, show us the content present on MySQLDB. Actually, okay. All right, so we'll show that probably at a later point of time. So once it has installed and created the databases, then you will get an idea. All right, all right. So you'll get an idea once Ambari runs and creates all the database tables. So we can take a look at MySQL at that point of time. Or you can, Abhinav, you can show it now. Okay, in one of the terminals. So we can say u root p and we can specify the password. Okay, show tables. Okay, show databases. So you can see we had created Hive, say use Hive and show tables. Use Hive and show tables. Okay, right now they're empty, and then use Uzi, then show tables, empty. All right, so right now we have just created the two databases and everything else is empty. Great. All right, moving ahead. So I think we have started the Ambari server, right? Okay, we are starting now. So it's starting now. You can see that the logs are going to be in var log Ambari server.log. Okay, so this is where it is going to log the error messages. The PID.PID file is for storing the process ID. Server.out is for storing the normal messages. Okay, and .log is for storing this. You can see that Ambari server completed successfully, and it is starting to listen on 8080. So how do we access this now? We find out the public IP address of this Ambari server, the first terminal. Okay, first terminal, this is the public IP address, and access it via the browser :8080. Okay. All right. I think the default password is admin for this. No? The default password is admin. Correct. Thank you, Abhinav. All right. So it's admin. Now you can change the password for time being before something else happens here. Okay. We can go into the admin there on the login itself. On the login, you click on the login. I think it won't be there. Yeah, click on the login. Yeah, there. Okay. All right. So we can, in the users, we can change the password, and you can change the password. Okay, so we get providing the old password, we are specifying the new password for Ambari so that the default one doesn't work. Okay, whenever you're installing, say, Oracle database, you must you change that password from Tiger to something else. I think there's a default password that's Tiger in Oracle, right? So, okay, in the similar way, in most of the services, you should do that. Great, great. Now let's click on this icon, the logo, which takes us to the installation page, okay? Which takes us to the wizard that will help us set up anything. We are giving the name to the cluster, okay? We are saying Hadoop demo, all right? And there we go. So we are going to say, okay, this is the particular Hadoop version we are going to install, and we are going to install the latest one. And here it will contain all these versions of all these components by itself. Okay. So we are saying use the public repository, Okay, you can see that we use public repository, and these are the local repositories. Okay, and these are the various versions of their repository. So it's going to add these repositories to yum and install using yum internally. So here we have, right? So great. So the one that it is going to use is CentOS 7, Red Hat 7. Yes, CentOS and Red Hat is the same thing. Okay, so this is what it is going to install. Wonderful, wonderful. So, okay. So now this is the place we tell Ambari that these are the machines on which we are going to install Hadoop. Okay, so we add the host names. Okay, these are the internal host names. Okay, internal host names, and all right. So we copied these two. Okay, along with Ambari server itself. Right. So we have put all the three machines name. Great. Now we have to give the private key. Okay, we have to provide the private key. We can choose the file, or we can just copy paste the private key. Okay, remember our private key. So this is the private key. All right, this is the private key. Now we can say register and confirm. Okay, SSH user account, we're going to say CentOS, because CentOS is the one which we have given the permission to. Okay. Okay, internally, since Ambari will do SSH and other things to all these machines, so we are giving the private key to Ambari as well, so that it can do the SSH and install and command all other nodes. You can see that it is installing on these machines. At the same time, you can take a look at the logs. Okay, so right now it's running the agent script. Right. So first of all, right now, basically it's downloading the components and adding the repository. Okay. And basically it has connected to the machines. And let's just go ahead next. Right now, it essentially what it did was it installed something called Ambari agent and other basic tools. Okay. Let's click next. Okay, so what we have is we have all the softwares and services along with their versions. Okay, if you want log analysis and other things, you have these extra components. Some of these components are standard Hadoop components. Some of these components are add-ons from some of these components are add-ons from Hortonworks. Okay, so yeah, this is good enough. So you can see that we have which version of Spark we have. We have Spark 2, Spark 1, and we have Japlin, we have Druid, we have Mahat, we have Slider, we have almost everything here. Okay, we have Knox and Kafka and everything. Okay, so this is what we are going to go next. All right, let's go ahead. We have Knox, Kafka, Atlas, Ambari, Inframetrics, and things like that, the Flume and other components. So now is the time, now is the judgment time. Here we have three machines on which just a second, there's a question from Noor. Question from Noor is, I attended one AWS conference 2 days back. They showed their big data setup plus ML with SAYS make their own high level abstraction over Spark. The question is, are the companies going for AWS big data version uh, or take AWS instances and install themselves? Good question, Noor. So when a company is, as the company become more and more big data company, they keep on moving to their own own installation, right? When the company is beginning to experiment with big data, they generally use the AWS, as in AWS Spark version instead of standard Spark version. What we are installing is for the people who really are serious about big data and they want to have the complete ownership of the infrastructure. A question from Middaw, Zeppelin is used here. How about Jupyter? Jupyter we will install separately. Okay, great. All right, so what we have is these nodes. Now here, please pay attention that it's asking for where to install name node, where to install secondary name node, app time server, resource manager, history server, and Hive server, Hive metastore, and so on. Okay, so this is the judgment call. The thumb rule is um, keep keep the memory. So thumb rule is the machines which have as in kind of balance out the memory usage. Do not bother the name node. Okay, in production you should generally keep one machine just for the name node. Okay, so all right, so here we are, you can see that Hive metastore, we have specified it here, right? Hive server is there, Hive metastore is there, and so on. So you can see that while Zookeeper server is installed on all the three machines. Okay, go down. Is going to be installed, not yet installed. Okay, similarly, you can go down. Where is the data nodes? Okay, can you just search for data node on this page? Okay, data nodes will come next. Thank you. All right, so these are the various service configuration. Ideally, whatever Ambari is suggesting you, you should just go with that. Okay, now you will realize that why did we choose three machines instead of two machines? Because there are too many services. Therefore, we capped three machines. Okay, all right, go ahead. So generally the machines which don't have any services in them, they are generally for running the data nodes. Those machines are called edge, called basically the empty, uh, the sorry, the machines which don't have any services including data node, they are called the edge node. Okay, go ahead. A question from Middao. Is each node with 15.5 GB 4 cores? Yes, that means 16 GB. Does that mean my local machine have to have such memory and cores? Yes, kind of 16 GB is kind of 8 GB is kind of which Hortonworks is suggesting. Okay, not local machine, as in the machine on which you are installing, you're installing these services. Okay. All right, a point from Abhinav. Here we're just changing the Hive server, Metastore, and Uji server to the node IP where MySQL is installed. That's good. That's good. So what we are doing here is that we're installing Hive server and Metastore on the third machine on which we install the MySQL. Okay, here we have three machines. Okay. A question from Hitendra is, what is Edge node? Edge node is some machine which doesn't have any service. That's just used for launching the programs. A question from here, there is no Edge node as such. I was just giving you definition. A question from Alok is, here we are having four machine. A last machine? No, we just have three machines. Okay. The first machine is the one which has the Ambari server. Okay. Good, good. Let's go ahead. So you can see all the services which are where visually above. Okay. All right. Noor wants to take a snapshot. You could take this. Okay, just keep in mind that the UG server, Hive server, and Metastore, they're going to interact with MySQL. So we are just putting them on the third machine where MySQL is installed. So you can see Hive server, UG server, and the okay, Zookeeper server is anyway there in all the machine. Matrix Connect collector is there on all the machines, and so on. All right, that's pretty much. So let's go ahead. Great, great. All right, so now is the time that we want to define the slaves. So here we we can basically select the uh, whether we want data node on all machines. So generally we put data nodes on all the machines. Okay, and node manager Node Manager again in all machines because we want execution on all the machines, right? Remember our yarn discussion? Because we want our program to run all three machines. Therefore, we are putting we want containers to be run on all the machines. Therefore, we are saying have data node on all three, node manager in all three. Right now, we are not using the NFS gateway, but still we can install NFS gateway. This helps us mount HDFS in the local machine. Okay. Next is region server. Region server also we can put it on all machine. Region server is used by HBase. Okay. And Flume also we can install on all the machines. And okay, supervisor also we have put. Supervisor is for Hue. Is that right? Okay, great. We have Spark Thrift server. You can select the Spark Thrift server also on all three machines. Okay. Except for name node, you can remove Spark Thrift server from the name node, as in name node as in first machine. Okay. The Ambari server, what is the IP address? Okay, the IP address is 155. 155 means, okay, the first one is 155. Okay, so we can just, this is interesting. So name node is going to be where? Okay, okay. Actually, name node is selected in the previous one. Okay, name node is on 155, correct? Good. We can mouse over. That's good. That's good. Yeah. All right, cool. Let's move ahead. NFS Gateway helps us mounting HDFS as a local file system. Okay, so normal usual Unix command will then start working on that NFS HDFS file system. All right, good, good. Let's go ahead. Okay, so I don't know what is Livy server. And okay, again, I don't know what is Druid. Druid used to be disk manager, right? I don't know what is this. Anyway, so client, let the client be everywhere. I don't know what clients are these. Okay. Ideally, what you should do is you should install all the clients in all the machines as a thumb rule, because you never know what kind of commands you will need where. Great, let's move ahead. So I think we are all set. So after we are at install, start, and test, at that time we'll take a break. Okay, there are some, you can see the errors, that the one that requires our attention. Okay. Now we have to specify the password for Hive and Uzi. Okay. Since it is going to connect to our MySQL, so we are saying that use our MySQL and use the password, the one that we created earlier. Okay. So it's asking us to run that command on the one here. So it says that, okay, we have to do sudo or something. No, I think it has, for time being, stopped Ambari. It doesn't want us to run this. Okay. Right now, it has disabled the installation for time being, Abhinav. So maybe it doesn't want us to run it. It says that Ambari env.sh permission denied. For time being, it has disabled that. To use MySQL with Hive, you must once download. We already are doing that, right? This is what we already did. So I think this is okay. I think this is okay. Just specify the password and that's all. Is it not able to connect? Okay. Let it test the connectivity. Also, can we do one thing from another machine, say machine one? Can we use MySQL command and try to connect from the machine on which we are installing Ambari? Can we use MySQL command there and connect to the one? Okay, so let's just take the third one. Okay, enter. Okay. Oh, we need to, okay. For this to test, maybe we'll need to install the MySQL client. Okay, no worries. This is all good. This is all good. This one also we have done well. On which machine did it work this time? Okay, good, good. Connection failed. Can we take a look at why connection failed? Yeah, I think it doesn't show the error. Password do not match. Okay. Let's just test again. Is our MySQL allowing remote connections from the network, local network? Good, very good. All right. All right. So now what we did was we are telling Ambari that these are the login password of Hive. So while configuring Hive server, it'll basically, so these are the login password of MySQL. So Hive, it'll, while creating the Hive configuration file, Ambari will use these login and password. They'll set these login password for MySQL in the configuration of Hive. Okay, now we can go ahead. Now the similar thing we have to, can we do the save here? Do we need to do save here? Okay, great, great. Now what we're doing is we're basically fixing the errors that it is showing, right? So let's just try to fix these services and see if it works. Okay, again, I think this we have already done. All right, so yes, what was the password? Uzi123 and Uzi123, Uzi, and that's the connection. Wonderful. All right, so it worked. Now the error must have gone, right? Now error, you can see error is gone. Now we can switch to Accumulo and see what's happening there. Accumulo root password, we can just specify any root password for the sake of it. Okay, so okay. Okay, good. Now that error is also gone. In the case of Accumulo, now it says that Ambari Matrix has got an error, so we are trying to again set some kind of admin password. Generally, you should keep these password in any password manager. Okay, and okay, so we just keep these password in a password manager. All right, so I think we are almost done with fixing the errors. Okay, so it says activity analysis error, and it says again some kind of password it wants us to set. Okay, for Activity Explorer. Good, so I think we are done setting up all the passwords. All right, all right. Okay, proceed. It says Atlas is configured to use HBase install in the cluster. If you would like to use Atlas, let's just proceed. We don't want to use Atlas because we are right now. Okay, there's not too much in use here. Okay, let it run. Yeah, this is the final step. Okay, final step. Okay, it is showing that these are the various repositories added, then these are the configuration of which server goes where, which client goes where. A question from Sachin is, so each component need password for MySQL? It may. Okay, so not only password for MySQL, it was only Hive and Uzi that needed. For others, we need to generally create the master passwords. All right, so these are the various services where they're going to be installed. Once more, can you go down, please? So, yeah. And here you can see Pig, Scoop, Uzi, Zookeeper, Hive, HBase, Stays, and so on. So Uzi is on all three machines, while Pig is client is everywhere. So we have put clients everywhere. And Flume is all three machines, Accumulo, Falcon, everything that is there in the yeah. Okay, so you can see that we have installed, we've just selected all the nodes. Kafka is there. There is only one broker. Ideally, we should have put all the three brokers. Okay, all right. So, okay, great, great. Now let's move ahead for time being. Okay, and also we can. So, question from Noor is, can you print this to PDF? Yes, you can print to PDF and keep it, but we are already moved ahead. Don't worry about it. So now, okay. It can be exported. Okay, cool. I think, yeah. All right, so it's preparing to deploy 99 task. And all right, so um, can we take a quick break for 10 minutes and come back by 9:53? Okay. Abhinav, is it good time to take a break? All right, so we can take a 15 minutes break. Okay, break for 15 minutes and back by say 10 p.m. IST. Okay, 10 p.m. IST. Hi everyone, I'm back. So should we start now? All right. All right. So basically in around 40 minutes, the installation is successful on the three nodes. Okay. There are some warnings encountered in the case of the second node but those would be probably with respect to memory or something like that. Right. So you can take a look at the warnings. So it's a check Falcon. Okay. So probably the could not authenticate or something. So probably the, okay, there's something wrong with Falcon, but that doesn't matter. So we are not going to use Falcon here. But in case you're going to use Falcon, you might want to fix that error. Okay, maybe change a password for the Falcon or something of that sort. Okay, so this is how we successfully completed the installation. All right, and so we can go ahead next. Okay, so it has successfully installed, and okay, you can see that. You can just click on complete. Okay, so you can see that all the services are up, and this is the situation of our cluster. So 3 out of 3 data nodes are up. Name node uptime is 26 minutes, and so on. So you have Zookeeper, Yarn, Kafka, and so on. So, all right. And you can see the memory usage. You can see the overall status of the cluster. Okay. All right. So, okay. So next is that we can just take a look at our Hadoop FS command. But since we have not installed console, web console, and other non-Hadoop services, because those are not generally required, those are very specific to CloudX Lab. Okay, so we can see that Hadoop FSLS is running fine, and we can just run PySpark probably. Okay, you can see that PySpark is 1.6.3. So is there something called PySpark 2? Okay, so it is trying to bind the UI there, and here we go. Okay, so similarly, we could see Hadoop, yarn, or execute any of the commands there. You can try git cloning our repository and running that command. So I'm going to give you just for, oh, but we don't have that data, right? We don't have that. Okay, we don't have data right now, so it'll be difficult to demonstrate. Now, a question from, right? Okay, a question from Alok means Kafka cluster is also created. Yes, Kafka is also created along with it. All right. Right now we have only installed one node, the broker, but we could add more brokers. All right. A question from Sachin, other components do not need database, then where they store their metadata. Okay. They have their own configuration file, right? So say for example, um, uh, Hadoop, say Hive client, for example, has something called Hive conf. That's where they're keeping the configuration. While the um, tools like Flume, they use the config file instead of a data. It just basically the design of these individual components that is more for the more towards RDBMS. It's like you deciding that your product should use file or your product should use a database. Okay, that kind of thing. While in case of HBase, there is the concept of metadata is there, but that is stored in HDFS itself. So for HBase, the data as well as metadata both are stored in HDFS. So it's the design of individual components and the way they are structured. All right. So how question from Alok is that how do we add more nodes in this cluster? Good question. So you could go to hosts. You could go to hosts Okay, there is a tab called host, and you could say add new host. Okay, and then you put the IP address of the new host and so on. Okay, all right. Now we can, okay, now you can take a look at the Hive and Oozie tables if it will make sense now. That's a good question, Abhinav. Okay, so remember that there was a question related to the tables in Hive, in the tables in there, right? In MySQL. So let's go to the third terminal, the terminal of third machine. There we could say MySQL and provide that account. So here we could say show databases, and now you can see in the Hive you have these many tables, right? As you will create more tables in Hive, it'll basically add that entry to the tables. Okay. Now, okay, so now you say use what was it? Uzi. So now if you say show tables, okay, so you can see that there are these tables that have been created. All right. So right now, question from Alok is like Kafka broker, Spark, or HDFS node. Yes, we can do that. Okay, when we select, when we add the node, it'll ask us to add more services to it. We can select that and then go ahead. Okay, question from Noor is, so if we create a new user account, it'll automatically get created in HDFS? Yes. Okay, and a question from Binta is, since there is Javelin with Ambari without Jupyter, it'll be convenient for us to learn how to use Jupyter. Could you open Javelin and demonstrate how to use it? Okay, so right. So actually, we have also not used Javelin much. We have mostly used the 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 other tools. Okay, so we'll have to take a look at how to use it. If Javelin provides, we need to take a look at how to use it. And a question from Noor is, will adding new host means downtime? No, new host does not mean a downtime. Most of these services are do not most of the services in Hadoop do not require downtime. Just that in very critical cases, when you are really changing, say, HDFS configuration or name nodes configuration, in that time it would require reboot. Other than that, you don't require reboot. Okay. And a question from Alok, automatically install all the service into new node, right? So no, we did select Zookeeper at that point of time. It did get Ambari did install Zookeeper. Okay, is Javelin similar to Jupyter? Correct, that's right. Okay, a question from Binta, how to add Jupyter into Ambari? We can just basically follow the guidelines of Conda or Anaconda to install Jupyter. So Jupyter, the way we have installed in CloudX Lab is not using Ambari. We used our own scripts to set up Jupyter for all the users. Okay, so this is Jupyter's config, and is there a UI or something like that? Can we, oh, there is a Javelin UI. Okay. From the quick links, we can access that. Now, can you change it to the public IP address? Probably that'll be a better idea. Okay. It is 1041. Okay. 104. Yeah, this is the one. I think there is a, again, Amazon's firewall is stopping it or what? This is connecting. Okay. All right, a question from Noor is if one want to install MongoDB, will it be on HDFS or local drive? It will be on local drive. A question from Alok, if you want to do the same exercise from AWS for 3 machines, okay, how much we have to pay? I'm not sure. It's around like 1,000 rupees per couple of hours. Okay, so and a question from Subbu is if we add new node, do we need to install all other required tools or automatically took it from existing nodes? If we add new node, we will have it'll require all other tools automatically. Do we need to install all other tools? Basically, this Ambari will guide you. Basically, it is equivalent to downloading all the components on the new node and then doing the needful. Okay, so it will need to install all other components. Yes. Okay, so like all the clients, JDK, all other tools, it will install on the new node. Question from Alok is if you want to do, okay, I think we're done. A question from Noor is MongoDB not a distributed? It is distributed, but it comes with its own distributed way. It doesn't use HDFS right away. Okay, it has its own MongoFS, it has own Mongo S, it has own Mongo D. So those basically store in the local file system. It has its own file management way. Okay. Say for each collection, it'll create something called block of data and all that. Okay. Yes, it has its own distributed way. All right, so great. So did it open? No, no, it does not open. So we'll have to see what is wrong with that. Never mind. So I think Japlin will have to take a look at later point of time. So okay. All right, so we'll take a look at Japlin later point of time. We have changed the server there, and okay. So it says that SSH key manager is you need to change it. Key store also we need to change. Okay, but we'll see that later. We have never done Japlin yet. We might have to research and fine tune a bit. Okay, a question from Noor is telnet from local server might help. Yes, we could try an NC and see if it's connecting. But yeah, I think they will require a bit more involved. All right, so that's pretty much installing Hadoop end to end. Okay, so the dev tools and other things that are extra part of the Cloud Exam, those parts we are not covering as such, but this is basically the standard configuration. And afterwards, we can start creating our accounts in HDFS and then start using all of this. So already CentOS is done. Okay. All right. So I think that's pretty much. If you have any more questions, we would like to. Abhinav, do you have more things to show or are we done? A question from Noor, if I need to create a user, yes, you'll need to create user everywhere on all the machines as well as in HDFS, as well, sorry, you'll have to create in Ambari. Great. So sure, we will export the configs and we'll send it to you. Okay, so that's pretty much, and do not forget to destroy these instances. Okay. So wonderful set of questions. Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you, everyone. And a question from Subbu is that can we do the same setup for using VMware? So VMware is basically a makeshift arrangement which gives you virtual machine and which has a single setup. So That's basically arrangement. This is a real cluster setup. Okay, this is a real cluster setup. VMware is you just download the virtual machine and run the virtual machine that will have the Hadoop already installed in it. So somebody installed Hadoop in their virtual machine, saved it as a file, and then that is what is given as VMware appliances. Okay, but that's not a real cluster. It has name node, data node, everything on one machine, and it is not really something that would help you understand distributed computing. But for if you do not have a Cloud Lab access, VMware could come handy. Okay. A question from Noor. Please let us know how much credit do we require to set up this practice. Maybe it would require around, say, maybe around 40-50 dollars would be spent in like a day or so for this setup. Okay. Okay, so you could experiment with this. Look at the prices of AWS. Take a look at the time, including the bandwidth, including the file, including the what do you say, including the um, prices of the disk, price of the instance, price of the bandwidth, and so on. So take a look at the prices and select three instances. There is a pricing, the one Abhinav is showing. Thank you, Abhinav. So here there's something called AWS Simply Month Calculator. Here you can add the instances and you will get a clear picture of the pricing calculator. Okay, you could add and do the evaluation. All right, so that's pretty much for today. I hope this session was useful to all of us. Okay, a question from Binta. Although my local machine has not enough memory, I'll just try to practice to install Ambari later. Okay, great, great. But you can also try with DigitalOcean, or you could try with some other systems where you have cheaper servers that could also help you understand. Okay, Robin. Robin's point is that, excuse me, my PC is hanged. I rebooted, so I lost my recording from Anne. When will you send the recording? Did you did it include the Q&A chat? Okay, Q&A. I think what we'll do is we will send you the Q&A along with it. Okay, so no worries. We are going to put it there. All right, no worries, Robin. Okay, so I'm sure that this session was useful to you, and I look forward to see you over the weekend. Okay.